hydropower specialist from Nepal joins the team of skilled volunteers to help typhoon victims in Taitung. We look at how the relationship between teachers and parents impacts the schools in Taiwan. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. As Tzu Chi's 5-day relief efforts in Taitung come to an end, a closing ceremony was held at the Taitung Jingsi Hall, where words of gratitude and reflections of the mission were expressed.
Here
in Taitung, the small workspace given to Tzu Chi media volunteers are packed with people diligently working away. Though it's the last day of the relief effort, a recent college graduate, Li Yunjin, came from Yilan to volunteer her time and services.
There has been talk that news from Taitung is often neglected. I wanted to come and remind the residents from Taitung that we haven't forgotten them. Many are here to help.
Tzu Chi's media volunteer work can help spread the Master's love and our Tzu Chi spirit to others.
These are words of thanks from Tzu Chi volunteers in the Taitung area. For the past 5 days of typhoon relief efforts, volunteers island-wide have poured into Taitung to assist the locals in cleaning up their home.
Thankfully, Tzu Chi came to help. Otherwise, we wouldn't know what to do.
Despite the senseless devastation, camaraderie of the Taiwanese are shining through it all.
Among the skilled specialists and repairmen helping in Tzu Chi's disaster relief, there are people who come from all over. Next, we'll meet a hydropower specialist from Nepal. Let's see how he and other volunteers are helping residents restore their water utilities.
This map is used for relief actions in Taitung. And this is a Tzu Chi mobile repair team. This homeowner's iron door was damaged and windows smashed. His anxiety shows on his face.
Today we're going to look around first, and then we'll come back later with experts and supplies to get started.
Another household has been without water since the typhoon, which has been a major inconvenience.
The motor here should be pumping water up, and there's a second one that should pump water down.
To find the problem, the volunteers head to the rooftop to inspect things.
Since the typhoon wind was so strong, the cap for the water tank was blown away, so that started to weaken the building's water pressure. So the motor on the lower level can't pump any water up.
Manny Ram is a foreign face among volunteers. He is from Nepal and has 25 years' experience working in hydropower. Another hydropower expert, Mr. Chen Shifeng, is a local volunteer whose skills are in high demand.
I mean, repair company may have to come up here to look at the equipment and wouldn't have changed anything or made a very simple fix, but they will probably charge at least $20 US. That's the minimum charge for a specialist.
For these residents, a large problem has been successfully resolved.
Okay, I won't lie and say it doesn't affect me, but it's really my pleasure. Doing this work for others, I get something money can't buy.
As Mr. Chen goes about helping repair the homes of typhoon victims, his own home has also suffered damage, with debris and broken glass still waiting to be cleaned up. Here in Taitung, the community is coming together to make sure everyone is taken care of.
In Xianglan village, Taitung, nearly 70 volunteers and villagers have helped clean up the debris from houses that were severely damaged by the recent typhoon. In addition, members of the army have also pitched in to help remove the unwanted items, helping villagers return to normal life. In Taitung, this torn metal sheet makes a loud sound, and the soaked clothes and furniture give off a foul stench. Despite having to endure the stench, people still continue to clean.
慢一点，慢一点哈！太快的话哈，那个水会碰到我们，你要轻一点哈。
这样蛮恶心的，因为大家。
Although it's gross, I want to help out because people's houses have been badly damaged. I hope to help them rebuild homes more easily.
In one house, where the roof tub has been blown away, the owner had no choice but to be in the rain on typhoon night due to mobility problems.
All of a sudden, it flew up.
Facing the devastated home, Mr. Dai's family were helpless until the volunteers reached out to them.
We are grateful to them. Fortunately, they came to help, or else we do not know how to clear out these items.
As Tzu Chi volunteers begin the fourth day of cleanup effort in Xianglan village, they have moved out many large furniture from damaged houses. Although it takes a long time to clear out items from damaged houses, members of the army have also pitched in to help move them. Working with one heart, everyone hopes to help Xianglan villagers return to their normal life soon. Another part of Tzu Chi's typhoon relief efforts in Taitung is in comforting the residents. This mission is being carried out in Taitung City as well as the hard-hit Taimali. Let's join the volunteers as they visit door to door to console the typhoon victims.
In Taimali's Xianglan, residents can hike in the mountains and swim in the sea. However, the rustic charming village has become filled with sorrow. Tzu Chi volunteers visit Taimali to provide consolation to victims of the typhoon. This family's roof blew away and the home's walls collapsed. This resident's bravery crumbles upon receiving the volunteers' kind words of care.
We know you're suffering. We're suffering right along with you. We hope you can leave your suffering behind.
While some residents need a shoulder to cry on, others need financial assistance. How big is Taimali? For these slightly older volunteers from out of town, it's a very large area to cover. Every path is filled with Tzu Chi's footprints of love. The local police stopped the volunteers to praise their efforts.
Thank you. We are now actively participating in restoration. Thank you for all the volunteers' assistance.
As time is of the essence, volunteers eat a quick lunch underneath a resting pavilion before heading to their next destination in Taimali.
In Taitung, as Tzu Chi carries out its post-typhoon disaster relief work, Tzu Chi volunteers face the challenge of providing transportation for volunteers. Let's take a look at how they're able to manage this challenging task. People are getting ready here.
The 8th team, please raise your hands. Bring your information. Step forward if you are by yourself.
People here are also extremely mindful.
Head to Gongdong Technical Senior High School at 4. There should not be any problem, right? We will bring the Zijings back from another school.
The Taitung Jingsi Hall has become the coordination center.
Delivering supplies, lunch boxes, and taking volunteers.
Another urgent task is to look for drivers.
3 large cars and a van will head to the train station tonight.
To carry out post-typhoon disaster relief, on the busiest day, tour buses went out 15 times and cars were dispatched 50 times.
Maybe we need to look at the schedule.
We do what we should do. I don't think much. I've put my work aside and dedicated myself to the work here.
Despite the few number of people, volunteers in Taitung work with one heart to allocate vehicles to help volunteers complete their missions. Single parent Chen Baotai was affected by the typhoon, though this did not stop him from helping other less fortunate people. He's also grateful for the financial assistance Tzu Chi provided him. He plans to use this money for tuition and other expenses.
After the typhoon, electricity continues to be out at the home of Chen Baotai, who lives in Shanglan village. Despite his home being badly damaged, he still finds time to go out and help others.
Other people may have more needs than us, such as elderly people living alone with their children, working elsewhere with no opportunity to return home to help them. Because of this, we have to help them and help rebuild Taitung.
Working diligently to clean up this environment is Chen Baotai, who is a single father. He typically does part-time work to raise 3 daughters alone. He believes that Tzu Chi's living subsidy will be a great help for him.
This money will go for the children's tuition and help them buy uniforms and shoes. It's a great help to me because in the days after the typhoon, there's little work. Suddenly, Tzu Chi has provided this opportunity for us to do some more work. At least some of this money will be given to the children.
Despite the hard work, it's a good opportunity for 3 young girls to experience the joy of helping others.
Thank you very much for sending your child to help. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to manage by myself as it's hard for me to walk.
In Taitung, the strong winds of Typhoon Nepal uprooted many trees at National Taitung Senior High School. Learning of the situation, a group of tree doctors from Taipei traveled to Taitung to help save the trees.
At National Taitung Senior High School, the banyan trees have been uprooted by the strong winds of the recent typhoon. Without quick and proper treatment, they might not be able to survive.
Upon learning of the situation, a group of tree doctors from Taipei have rushed to Taitung with equipment to provide assistance.
13 tree doctors and climbing specialists will work on the bigger, older trees. Because they are more fragile and precious, we hope to save the older trees that have fallen as quickly as possible.
Putting on a hook to adjust the angle of the fallen trees, the tree doctors follow proper procedure to save the trees. The first step is to keep the tree roots wet, followed by clearing the dead tissues before adding soil to straighten the trees. Lastly, tree doctors must douse the trees with a lot of water, which will improve the tree's survival rate to 60%. Meanwhile, many teachers and students also help clean up the debris. They have special feelings for these banyan trees.
I feel bad seeing the fallen trees. We've been watering them for many years. It will be wonderful if they can be saved.
The students and alumni have great memories of the trees, since they grew up with them. We will do our best to save as many trees as possible.
Despite the hot weather, the group of tree professionals are racing against time to save the trees, hoping to restore the beautiful scenery of the school. In Pingtung, the recent typhoon devastated the metal sheet house of a low-income family. Mr. Chen, who scavenges for a living, has to care for his ill father and bedridden wife. After he called Tzu Chi for help, volunteers notified the Disaster Relief Center and helped the family settle down in the local veterans' home. Meanwhile, another group of young volunteers helped Mr. Chen clean up his house.
Seeing the volunteers work hard to clean up his house, Mr. Chen is moved by their assistance. He recalls the typhoon day with a shivering voice.
The wind was very strong. What's worse, my father suffers from a stroke and my wife is bedridden.
It is dark in the house because the lights were ruined when rain poured in from the torn metal rooftop. Fortunately, a group of volunteers have come to help them.
Volunteers will find resources to help him replace the broken furniture. We will also replace electrical appliances if any are broken.
More than 10 volunteers have been cleaning up his house in the dark for 2 days. Among them, this student, who is also from a low-income family, can empathize with their pain.
The house is a shelter for one's family. But when I see this devastated house, I was wondering if it was a scene from a movie.
Although it is hard work, I feel like I did something meaningful.
This is the rooftop of the house, and this is the ceiling.
Mr. Chen feels helpless looking at the pile of furniture at the door. However, he is confident that he can overcome all the difficulties to rebuild his home with all this help.
The future survival of many schools may have a lot to do with the relationship between teachers and parents. Follow our report as we investigate the delicate relationship between teachers and parents and how it impacts the fate of schools in Taiwan.
In recent years, tension between teachers and parents has become highly publicized and shared on social media. For example, debates over the use of cell phones in class and getting slapped in the face when students use bad words.
The reporting of this news has a sort of domino effect, as it could also occur in other places, leading parents to worry that their children suffered from similar treatment.
Fewer children allow parents the opportunity to put more of an emphasis on the interests of children. However, it also means that they are more likely to cross the line and interfere with the teacher's professional work.
The first question is whether or not this teacher is good at teaching. If they are, they try to get them into their children's class. Sometimes, this is excessive interference in a teacher's professional responsibilities.
Common parent-teacher interaction includes the daily communication book, phone calls, family visits. Taipei City Government's Department of Education instructed schools that within 3 weeks of the first semester, they must convene an open house, allowing parents the chance to listen to teacher lesson plans, and homeroom teachers present their classroom management policy. The following semester, a parent-teacher meeting needs to be scheduled, with the homeroom teacher once again discussing classroom management policy and further in-depth communication. Despite parent-teacher meetings held once a semester, some schools add more such get-togethers to promote more interaction.
Some children aren't willing to directly tell you things, so we host other meetings, such as this breakfast, to learn more from parents, and they too can learn more about their children.
你要帮我介绍一下吗？
他是人呢，然后他是在打猎。
打猎，所以他猎了一只鹿。因为我们家老大是姐姐，她从小都是在。
Our eldest is a girl, and from the beginning she grew up in a system that encouraged basic interaction with the teacher. Perhaps only one parent-teacher interaction once a semester. But after coming to Cixin Waldorf School, I joined the parents' working group at the school and had very frequent interactions.
Originally living in Hsinchu, the whole family moved to Yilan in order to give their young son the opportunity to study in the special school.
He's relatively slow with his reactions and doesn't know how to address negative emotions. In our parent-teacher meetings, we have to be very trusting.
Dramas, dragon boat races, and other activities, along with parents being required to participate in work days, makes his public school, which is privately run, much different than others. It emphasizes a great deal of parental involvement to encourage family and school education to take place in unison, as well as build parent-teacher trust.
I often take the initiative to tell parents my observations of their children and seek out their opinions so we can have more interactions. These 8 hours in the morning and 8 hours in the evening are quite important for these children to have a more complete development. Also, parents are quite impressed if you can discover something about their children that they may have overlooked.
I think that they really love this group of children. From our participation in these activities, we can really see the teachers' mindfulness.
We don't give the teacher any pressure. If the class has 30 parents, 30 people have 30 opinions which they want the teacher to follow, which will drive her crazy.
Being polite helps build a better relationship with the school. And if you have more ideas and advice, the school can better respond.
Children are also learning from the interactions of their mom and dad with teachers, giving them a glimpse and potentially a guide into the adult world.
Education doesn't need to be a battle of wills or a game of survival. Instead, it should be a cooperative undertaking by all parties involved who work together to solve the current problems with the education system.
In Sanzhi, New Taipei City, a senior has been taking care of 2 grandchildren since his son works away from home. As he's not able to handle household chores, the house has become cluttered. Therefore, a social worker has asked Tzu Chi volunteers to help clean up their environment.
Without a woman's help in the young family, piles of things clutter up the house from the 1st to the 3rd floor. The refrigerator is also full of things. It takes much time and effort to clear out the items inside.
He keeps food inside the refrigerator without cleaning up, so some of the food are spoiled.
This is the house of Tzu Chi's care recipient family. As the breadwinner, Mr. Yang works in southern Taiwan, leaving his elderly father and his 2 children at home. Because they are unable to properly take care of household chores, a social worker has invited Tzu Chi volunteers to help with the cleanup.
This family's independent living skills are rather weak, so after helping them clean up their environment, we hope to build up their habit of taking good care of themselves.
I treat them as my children. I believe that after our cleanup, the children's health condition will improve in the future.
It is not easy to clean up all the items in a cluttered home. The volunteers sort the recyclables while cleaning. Afterwards, they also bring 2 second-hand desks for the children to study from.
It's my daughter's. Because she no longer uses it. I think these children need the desk, so I gave it to them.
With the desks at home, the children discuss their studying plan during the summer vacation with the social worker. Volunteers bring love and care to this family, hoping to cultivate their independent living skills after the cleanup.
In New Taipei City's Banqiao area, 40 Tzu Chi volunteers were asked by a borough chief to help a mentally ill woman clean up her house. When she gets panic attacks, she collects things and brings them home. Fortunately, Tzu Chi volunteers undertook the cleanup of her house.
Debris covers every corner of the house, from the bedroom to the living room, and gathers in the doorway. Tzu Chi volunteers take a basket to gather things and then pass them around. This is the 2nd time this year Tzu Chi volunteers have cleaned this house for the 52-year-old resident.
A city sanitation crew cannot clean this private home, so we're all very grateful for Tzu Chi stepping in and doing a great job. Tzu Chi has taken great care and helped Ms. Huang clean her house.
40 Tzu Chi volunteers from Banqiao pass baskets of garbage to other volunteers, some aged more than 50, to take away. This entire group of volunteers, the majority of them seniors, is more than happy to help.
We're still able-bodied and can still pay it forward by helping other people. I want to be gracious for the fact that I have a healthy body.
Volunteers hope that Ms. Huang can be inspired to bring recyclables to Tzu Chi Recycling Center instead of simply hoarding them in her house.
In Paraguay, Tzu Chi volunteers recently conducted their annual winter distributions at 2 elementary schools built by Tzu Chi. At the 2 distributions, the volunteers gave out food, beanies, and scarves to a total of 203 families. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.